Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Larilyn with House of Bacote. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you that are new, this channel is all about sewing, my love of pattern making, design, pattern drafting, and basically some embroidery sometimes as well. What I'm working on today is actually my summer sewing series of my summer wardrobe. So I have about 3 to 4 different cami patterns. I've chosen this one I'm going to share with you today. I've got about 2 to 3 different fabrics I've picked out to use. I'm gonna do a few sundresses and possibly some short sets too as well for the summer. So follow me over to the cutting table. Let's take a look at this beautiful fabric. Okay, so this first fabric I have, it's a silk. It's actually 100% silk. I found this probably at least almost 4 years ago in Dubai. I've only used it for the lining of a jacket that I made. I think it was for a lining of a coat. And it was very actually warm actually. It's supposed to keep you cool in the summer and kind of warm, you know, in the winter. But for summer, I'm going to make this cami and it's not going to have a lining. It's just the silk. And I'm going to do spaghetti straps with it. But I think it's just going to be really very, very cute with all of the different summer colors. That's the inside of it there. So it's definitely different. You know, I'm very eccentric when it comes to my clothes sometimes, and then just plain Jane for other things. And then I have this one as well. This one I don't remember. I remember it being like a silk blend. It's very pretty as well. I know the peacock was 100% silk, but this one feels really soft as well. It's got a floral detail to it. So I'm gonna do both of these fabrics for the first cami pattern, and these are my own self-drafted patterns. So watch me as I put this beauty together. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my pieces. I just have the back pattern, the back facing, the front pattern, the front facing, and then there's also the pattern for the straps. So it's only 5 pieces. Very simple, very basic. So I'm gonna start with my front, and I already have my darts, notches marked here on the pattern. And there's only one set of bust darts here. I'm gonna remove all of my pins, and both the front and the back are cut on the fold. Okay, so what I do first is open up my pattern, and I cut it just a little bit larger than the pattern this time, a little extra seam allowance, because the last time I actually made this, it was a little bit snug. Or maybe I gained a little weight since making it, but I did wear one in Cabo, and it was a little bit snug. So let me get my chalk, and I'm gonna remark where that bust point is. Okay, so I remarked my dart bust point over here, and I have my notches over here. So looking at the right side of my fabric, I'm going to meet those 2 notches together, and I'll just put a pin to kind of hold that area there. And then, because this fabric is so colorful, I'm just going to put my finger where my dart point is there, just to make sure I don't lose it. And I'll grab another pin and put my pin through it. And then I just want to sew my dart. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and sew my darts. Alrighty. I don't have my scissors here, so I'm just going to let this cut for me. Alright, so just to take a look to see what that dart looks like, and that's how I form my bust dart. You can kind of see it right here. It's already looking like a cute little cami. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so bust darts are done, and I'm done with the front part of my pattern. I'm going to put both of the facing pieces aside, and I'm going to take the back part of the pattern, and I'm going to place it on top of the front, right sides together, and just line up my armhole areas and pin. I use quite a few pins, especially with silk, because it's really slippery. And I do have some smaller silk pins since I've done a complete overhaul of the sewing studio. I have no idea where I placed them because I'm still in the process of moving some things around. I do have a video on the channel where I shared my updated fabric stash. I did use my consultation space that I meet with clients in another area to store a bunch of the fabric that I keep for either samples or for projects or for just sewing for myself as well. And I think I might have those pins in one of those bins. But anyway, I'm just using these and just being real careful because I don't want to snag this delicate fabric. And I've probably got about 6 to 7 pins along the side seam here of the cami. So you can kind of see how I pinned from the armhole all the way down to the bottom. Look at those vibrant colors, guys. That's gonna be beautiful for summer. You either love color, you know, or you don't. So I'm a plain Jane, but sometimes I love color too. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And this is the most difficult part of it. It's just getting those seams to line up because I opted to not do, I've made this several times before where it was bias cut and it was just a beautiful drape, especially with a really soft rayon cotton, you know, fabric for summer. Something that's a little dressier than just your regular cotton or poly. Because this is 100% silk, I didn't want to sew it on the bias as well as having to deal with the slippery fabric. That might have been a bit much. So I just opted to cut it on the regular straight grain and take my chances with it, but I think it's still going to be really pretty drape. All right, so I'm going to put a couple more pins on the side seam here. And then once I close up the side seam, I have to work on the facing. All right, so I'm going to sew up these side seams and we're going to move on to the facing. Okay, and this is just sewing up the side seam, and I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Back stitch. So let's turn this cami inside out and see what it looks like. So this is the front, right? It's starting to look like a cute little cami top, right? See the bust darts. And then the back I have it more like a deep cut, deep V. I think that's gonna be really cute in the back with the spaghetti straps. It's a little transparent here in the light, so I'll probably have to do a little light lining up to find something. But you know what? I've got the facing in there, so there's no need. All of that bust area will be covered. And I have it down for about 6 inches. I forgot about that. So no need for lining. All right, let's move on to the facing. For those of you that are new, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps small channels like this to grow when you comment, share across your social media platforms, and follow me on TikTok, House of a Coty Design, Instagram at House of a Coty. Okay, so moving on to the facing pieces. This is the front. I've cut it on the fold Typically when I make it, I do cut the back on the fold as well, but I had to cut it into 2 pieces. Because of this odd shape, I only had so much of this fabric left, so I had to make it into 2 pieces. So what I want to do is I have the edges pinned here down the very center of center back, which is this way. I'm going to go ahead and do my 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and then I'll be able to then attach it to the sides of the front. So technically this is a side seam, this will become my side seam, and then center back will be right here matching with center front, or equidistant to center front, front to back, if that makes sense. Okay, so moving on to the sewing machine, I'm gonna go back and just stitch down center back. Okay, so now I have my back facing, front facing. I'm gonna line those up right sides together. I'm gonna pin at the side seams. I'll probably only need about 3, maybe 4 max of the pins. And it just helps to keep all of my seams straight. Okay? And what I do to this side, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, so I have my front and my back facing, and I have them sewn right sides together. Right? Let's turn that where we can see it and make sense of it. Alright, so that's the back, that's the front. I'm going to go ahead and finish the side seams and the actual hem off camera with my serger. Sometimes I just do a rolled hem, but you just want to have a nice clean finish so it doesn't fray, you know, when you're hand washing. And I'd probably hand wash and just air dry it, or just have it, you know, laundered. I definitely wouldn't put it through the washing machine. So if you're new to sewing and you haven't really, you know, hemmed much, you can just do a narrow rolled hem. You can just either zigzag the edge, or you can just roll it once, right? Very small hem, and then it's really a double fold, and then folding it over a second time, and then basically stitching, and that'll be a nice clean finish. You can do that as well. I'm actually going to use the serger and serge it and do a hem off camera. Alright, so I finished my hem. You can kind of see my clean finish edge here all around. So I'm going to take the front part of the facing. I'm going to place my shoulder seams together, and I'm going to put a pin through it. It's very slippery. The silk is super slippery. It's not the easiest thing to work with. Alright, and then I'm going to match up my side seams, right sides together as well, and I'll put a pin. And again, you could finish the insides of your side seams if you choose to before you sew the front and the back together. It's probably easiest, but you'll also have a facing that's covering a large portion of that side seam, so the unfinished parts won't really be seen. But just to make sure everything is nice and tidy, you could do that before stitching. It's a lot easier. So then I'm going to get my other shoulder seams together where the straps are going to be, and put a pin. So if you take a look in the front, you've got your front facing that's sewn directly or pinned directly to the front. And if we just pin the middle with a pin, you'll be able to visualize that better. And the only thing that I'm going to do next is to stitch the front facing to the front. I'm going to do the same thing to the back. I'm going to pin that all the way around. Alright, so just for a visual reference, this is the front, and that's the facing. I've got it right sides together, pinned all along the armhole, And as we turn to the back, we have that deep V cut, and that's your back facing that's attached to the back and then pinned all along the armhole. I'm going to put one more pin in the center of this armhole here again because this silk is so slippery to keep everything together so the seam is nice and straight. And I'm going to stitch all around the neckline of the front and the back and along both of the armholes, and I'm going to leave my spaghetti strap area open, and I'll share a trick of how to do that nice and neat to finish it. Just want to make sure I'm moving all of my cami fabric out of the way and those pins. Opening up the side seam. I did not finish the piece that's actually hidden by the facing. Stitching along the armhole all the way back up to the shoulder. Just back stitch there. And what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side and stitch that neckline all the way around, including the armhole. Okay, so almost to the finish line. I've got the front and the back sewn. I've got the front and the back facing sewn in, and I've hemmed the line. I've actually hemmed the facing portion. Haven't done any hemming of the final cami here, but again, you can decide if you want to do a serge finish or if you want to do just a double fold. So that's a view from the side. It's nice, clean finish on the inside. Again, my facing was about 5 to 6 inches, and I went for the deep V in the back as opposed to just the traditional jewel neckline. But I'm pleased with it. I've got to work on my spaghetti straps, and for the spaghetti straps, basically you want to measure from where it's going to attach on the front, above the bust, over the shoulder, all the way to the back. And whatever that length is what you cut your straps to be. And this dress form is actually a little bit smaller for my size, so that's why the bust darts are not directly over the bust. So if I kind of gather that in, you can kind of see what it actually would look like. So I'm going to work on the spaghetti straps and show you the trick that I use to do a nice clean finish for those. Keep watching. Okay, so here is my strap. It's not super micro, but it's fine for the purposes of what I'm doing here today for this cami. So I want to take it and I just want to thread it through the top. Sometimes you can use your finger or you could use a pin. And you want to thread it between the front part and the facing part. So it kind of looks like that, right? And you could either take a pin, like a safety pin, and hold it in place. So essentially, once I pushed my spaghetti strap through, this is my shoulder tip here, that's the spaghetti strap peeking through. So I want to have measured prior what's the length I need from where it starts here to where it ends back here, and that's the length that I've cut my spaghetti strap to be. Now to keep it in place, I would just take a pin and hold it in place here inside. So when I turn it back out, essentially what you see is this nice clean finish here. And when I stitch it, I'm going to stitch it from the inside to just kind of close that piece up here. And then my spaghetti strap is essentially done. And I'm going to do the same thing. Now that's the front. I have to do the same thing and feed it through the back the same exact way through that hole opening of my shoulder, and then pin it and then stitch it. And then I essentially would have the spaghetti strap that's attached the front to the back. Okay, so here everything is just pinned with the straps. This is the time that you want to try it on to test it, to see what it fits like around the shoulders. That's your front, that's your armhole, and that's the back. I think it's super cute, and you can adjust it. And then you're just going to stitch inside, you know, like I showed you, make your adjustments and do the hem, and you're essentially finished. And that's just a final view of what my cami looks like, all done. Cute little spaghetti straps, armhole darts, completed hem here, and the inside is just as cute as the outside. So thanks again for watching, guys. This is Larry with House of Coty. Make sure you check out the channel. I try to post once every week. It's been actually about once every 14 days to a month the last few months because I was working on that fashion show. And those of you that are new, make sure you check out the channel. I've got clips of the fashion show and the runway and all the beautiful designs. So check that out. Give me a like again and a follow. Thanks for watching. Bye.